Want to count me in?
One, two, three, go.
What's up, Internet? It's a Striven Games Podcast, episode 20. We're not quite alcohol ready, but we're almost there, guys. I am Jordan Snell. With me is my good friend, Robert Hull. He's back. Say hi.
Yeah, hi. This is Robert Hull, and I guess you're seeing video right now. If you are, then welcome to my little home.
Yeah, a Striven Games first video. I got a webcam. He has a webcam. It's... You can finally see us.
Yay.
The curtain is drawn. There's no hiding it anymore. I am fat. It happens.
So where are you going to put these that people can watch them?
YouTube.
Sure, on YouTube.
Yep.
So hi, YouTube.
Good old YouTube.
I'll put you on my website too. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'll give you some of this. We've been gone for a long time. Michael's not here. Unfortunately, he's super busy with work and everything. It's been hard to get our schedules aligned, so thankfully I've been able to get in our nice pitch hitter. And so Robert's been here, what, twice before? Is it your third time on?
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So go ahead and get closer to your mic a little bit.
Okay, sorry about that.
Oh,
I'll hold it. This is good?
Oh, yeah, it's really good. So, man, a lot has passed since last time we talked. There's a few times I wanted to do a podcast. I had a lot written out about, like, Gamescom and all that, and then it just didn't happen, so... Now it's like... What the hell's happening in the gaming world right now? It seems like a lot of drama.
Right. Yeah, that's what it is. It's just like, I guess it's a dead period, and not a lot of good stuff has been coming out lately, and people are just like resorting to pulling each other and calling names.
There was the big dead period, and then there was the kickoff for the fall with Madden, and then now there's gonna be a whole lot coming out pretty soon. I'm actually...
Well, that's a sports game, and I don't do sports.
Yeah, but the one thing I like about Madden is that it is the first game to usually kick off the whole fall awesome AAA games coming out.
Yeah, that's true. They gotta start building up before Christmas.
Yeah, so
they gotta get their before Christmas sales in, and then their during Christmas sales.
Yep. So there was Destiny that came out.
Okay, yeah, I guess that was a big hitter.
Yep. That everyone had high expectations for. I wanted to get it. That was the game I wanted, like, with my PS4. And now I'm like, it's really fun, but it's not getting the best reviews right now. Which is fine, whatever. I don't know if... I wonder if people just had really high expectations and now they just put it too high up and they just got some...
Of which game? Destiny?
Yeah, Destiny. Like,
yeah, well...
They had a lot of big talk. They were like, their marketing was like, it's going to be around for 10 years. It's going to be the best game ever. And it just... Maybe
I think every game wants to say that, you know?
But do you think, like, that can be, like... That can be hurtful, like that marketing. Just like you think maybe you can push too far, and then
it's been my experience that our culture today is used to being let down with big purchases. And don't get it wrong. I mean, $60 for a game is a huge purchase. So like, even when Grand Theft Auto comes out, sure, there's a ton of people that love it, and you know, there's probably the overwhelming majority love it, but there's still like that big group of people that just feel really let down by that purchase. And I think that a lot of people do have buyer's remorse with Destiny. I think a lot of people think it's just like another what was that other game that was out from the Sci-Fi Channel, Defiance.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people are comparing.
Yeah, wasn't as bad as that though. From what I see, like, at least the interface was good, and the moment to moment combat is still very addictive. From what I hear,
I'm being completely upfront and saying that I don't actually have Destiny yet. I haven't.
I don't have it either. I thought about getting it for my PS3, but I'm like, you know what? I don't love the PS3 controller. I'm just gonna hold off and wait. until I'm actually able to afford a PS4.
Yeah.
So might not be
I've
until next
gotten it.
year. Yeah.
So how are we losing gamer cred for not having a new gen console yet? Because I remember when I was young, I probably would have never thought I'd be this long after a new console came out and I hadn't already picked it up.
I don't know. It's harder now. It's our own money, you know.
Right? No, it's a huge amount of money. We don't even have the excuse that they used to have where every 2 years a new console was out and it was time to upgrade. Like that was when the Sega Genesis was out and the people wanted to have several different consoles and everything was changing every 2 years. We had 7 years of the pre-gen and we had 7 years to save up our pennies and we didn't. we were spoiled by Xbox and PlayStation.
Well, it's funny. I was in high school when the 360 came out, and now I'm 23.
Do you know where I was when the 360 came out?
What?
I was actually, I hadn't deployed to Iraq yet, but I was just getting deployed to Iraq, and I got one and took it to Iraq, and I played the crap out of it.
Nice.
Yeah, no, wait. I'm actually wrong about my years there, because I was already at Halo 3. Did Halo 3 come out? Was it one of the first launches on the Xbox 360? I don't think it was.
It might have been like the second year. Gears of War was the first big game that came out like the year after.
Yeah, and we were still playing that.
And then I think Halo 3 came around the same time. Maybe a year after that.
So yeah, it wasn't as early as I thought, but yeah, it was. We were linking our Xboxes together and playing a lot of Halo 3 and playing a lot of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the first one.
And that almost wasn't possible with Xbox One if they had stuck with their original policy. That was the big concern for the military. They were saying because military people want the offline use, and then during the whole beginning of Xbox One, they had that bad messaging of no offline use at all.
I think that was just a scare to build publicity because I think they knew that there would be a kind of an eruption of people that either don't have their stuff on all the time, have really crappy connection to the internet, or can't afford to keep their internet on every month. I think that they just knew that there would be a big reaction, and they put that information out there kind of under false pretense.
I think they were actually believed in it. I think they were actually trying to push it as like this online only device, and they wanted to do a lot with that.
That's freaking scary. I mean, I can't think of any device that does that.
Yeah.
Can you? I mean, I guess there's just like a smart fridge I've heard of that you can only use it when it's online. I think that's it.
Well, I mean, like, there's some things like that, like speaking of like home devices, isn't that that thing that can control your air conditioning? What is that? I think that's online only.
Do it from your app on your phone.
Yeah, I think that's online only. Like, you'd have to be like manually in your house and change it. If it was.
Oh, I guess that's true. You wouldn't be able to just Wi-Fi it. I've never considered it that way.
Yeah.
Like, because that would be cool if you connect to. I mean, if you know enough about programming, you could.
But I think I even heard like it needs to sync up with their servers before it can even bounce back information. That's the weird thing.
That sounds smart, and that's crazy that their servers have anything to do with my information.
Yeah, I think it. They wanted to push their server agenda and they actually had some things that could have been cool with it, but the price was just not something.
The price per month.
The price of us people not being able to play it. The people who can't afford or don't have access to high.
Well, that's kind of that feels like a super elite feature anyway, doesn't it? Like,
yeah.
If you're actually at the point in your life where
I think it'll come back though. I think in a few years it'll come back. They'll want to push it again.
Smart houses. A couple. You can have a smart house now, as we were discussing before the show with Arduino boards. You could have a smart house today.
Oh yeah.
You just need to either understand electrical engineering enough, which isn't that hard. It's a scary term, but it's not that difficult to start watching YouTube videos on it and stuff. But even if you don't know how to do it, I'm sure that if you asked all your friends, one of them knows how to do it. You can get them to do it for you.
That's my plan. As soon as my baby's older, by that time, she'll be outgrown her toys, and then I'll just and by that time I'll be better at programming. I'll take up some Arduino boards. I'll take apart all her old electronics and stuff, and just rebuild it into some crazy contraption.
I hope it wouldn't scare her, whatever it is. But I actually do 3D modeling. So with the love of 3D printing, you could actually create some very mechanical device and we could actually create like a case for it.
Is there any 3D printer that you've seen that like you've had your eye on that you want, or like a specific model?
I guess my school turned me on to the MakerBot. Before I saw the MakerBot, I had it in my mind that I could build my own. Like there's that one, I'm not sure which one it's called, but there's one that you can actually buy in a box and put it together yourself, and it's quite a bit cheaper than a regular one. But I found out that the quality of the prints is really lacking, in that even with a regular 3D printer, you kind of have to dial it in and get used to using it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want one that will build solid pieces, and it'll give me the least amount of shrink, because now that I understand that all filament actually shrinks as it dries, that's something to keep in mind when you're making stuff.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I like the idea of owning a MakerBot, because it creates nice hard little 3D models, and they're solid and they come out really crisp with hard edges. So if I ever wanted to, like, I don't know if there's any Warhammer guys play Warhammer Fantasy or 40K, but you could actually 3D model yourself a little helmet and some shoulder armor, and you could have that 3D printed and just glue it right onto your model, and you'd have a truly custom model.
See, that's
you
what
make
I'm looking forward to being in that world. Like, I'm already seeing a lot of that stuff on like Etsy. Do you know what Etsy.com is?
I've never heard of that.
So it's like a bazaar of where people can make their own shops, and my wife is actually doing it for her crochet and her creations, like blankets and stuff she makes.
Okay.
So she has her own shop for her crochet creations, and then she just pays to have them listed, and they get like a cut of it, very small cut. But it's a nice place to have like your own shop of your own homemade creations. And one thing I've seen on there that's really cool is like iPhone cases is a big business.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to see more of those kind of things happen with 3D printers. I would love to see homemade creations being sold like that. Everyone's just like sharing.
You know what another really cool thing to do with 3D models is? I would say making Kickstarter, because everybody talks about Kickstarter. I mean, I've tried a Kickstarter back in 2011, I think it was. It failed horribly, and I haven't really seriously considered doing another one. Like, there was a time I thought I should, but I think the freelance is the way to go for the meantime. But with the 3D printing, one thing that you could do is you could make Kickstarter rewards for people. Now, maybe you yourself don't have a Kickstarter, but maybe you know someone who does. But you could say, "Hey, I'll do your rewards for you. You just give me a cut of blah blah blah," and you basically make freelance off of somebody who wants to start a Kickstarter, just so that they could have rewards. Yeah. And the hook, I think, would be to grab them at a time when they just started their Kickstarter, and you notice that they don't have any cool rewards. Say, "Hey, you pay me $100 right now. I'll make you a really cool model, 3D print it for you, and then as many people as need it, you print that many of it out of the money that you make from the sale or from the finishing of the Kickstarter. And then if the Kickstarter doesn't make any money, you go ahead and you keep that 3D model, and the next time you launch your Kickstarter, you'll already have it." So if you talk to people in that manner, like you can actually make some money off of other people's 3D printing things.
There's a lot of opportunity then. Like, it's even if you don't know how to 3D model, just having access to a 3D printer could make you a key investment in somebody's Kickstarter or project, whatever they're doing. And even if they're just
right.
Like,
especially if you have like $2,000 from a tax refund or something, and you just have it sitting there, and you're like, "Yeah, I want to get a MakerBot." Yeah, that's a good investment.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, if I had an indie game and maybe I wanted to make some money on the side, and I had maybe these iconic characters that are popular in my community of my fans.
Yeah.
Like, hey, go to somebody who has a printer and be like, "Hey, I got these 3D models. Could I, can we share some profit in making these and selling them?" And making like people would love to have a caricature of my, of my model. So work with me. So that's
and as we were saying about freaking Warhammer, you could actually paint those things.
Yeah.
So
Warhammer
you
be
could actually
big.
have a nice little statuette with a good little price on it, you know?
Not
Instead of
even just for the statuettes, just even like the environments, because some people go way out with like creating the
oh
levels
yeah,
and all
that's
that. Yeah.
yeah, you could make a really beautiful scene.
Just creating like
And then
little
like
stones and I don't know, like little altars or whatever, like just little things they can put in the environment for fun.
yeah, and there's actually people that actually professionally paint Warhammer too. I'm sure if you sent them a scene that you 3D printed, they'd give you a decent price on it. And then, you add that price to the overall price of the selling of the object, and boom, you get something really high quality out there to people.
Way back in the day, I thought about being into Warhammer, and it was just, whew. I was like, this stuff is cool. I'll get into it. I'll get into painting and everything. I was like, looked at the prices. I'm like, nah. I was a teenager anyway, so I was like, I don't have any money or a job. I'm not gonna do that. But
Well,
it did intrigue me though. I thought it was cool.
I have like you can see my shelf. There's a brown box up there. I don't know. It's on the top shelf. That brown box is the $250 freaking. There was only 250 of them made, or maybe 1,000. I don't know. Of these, it's the 6th edition rulebook. So like I have stuff, and I have a big chaos army. I think I can do like 3,000 points without breaking the rules.
Wow.
Like with normal. Well, that was actually the fifth. That was the fifth edition rules. The 6th edition rules allow for even larger armies, which I don't have. I don't have like a new army yet.
So do you actually like take these things somewhere to play them or?
That's the thing. It's like my robotics equipment on the table there. It's something that I used to be really fascinated with when I had disposable income coming in, but now that like I don't have disposable time even, it's just something I don't touch anymore. But when I did use them, yeah, I go to the local games workshop, and there's a network of people there. There's some people that are there very regularly, and there's some people that make guest appearances that you get to know over time. So it's a cool little atmosphere, and those people could actually be the people who paint your 3D models for you. Like if you wanted to go just start hanging out at your local games workshop and get to know who actually does painting there. In a lot of cases, these people have forums that they built offline. So the particular store will have its own forum. You just jump in there and say, "Hey, are there any good painters among you? Because I have $25 and I need this."
Yeah, that could be a good thing to do. So we kind of jumped around a lot of different like topics here. This is a video game podcast. Like talk about video
Sorry
games. Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
But all geek culture is great. We're not afraid to dive into any topic really. This is our conversational podcast. We can do that the hell we want. We're
There we
not
go.
like IGN or something where you're talking about the news. That's what I was thinking the other day. I was like writing a lot of notes on like Gamescom and stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not really a news outlet. I was like, I'm allowed to just cherry pick whatever game I actually like and want to talk about.
People are going to be exposed to that anyway through Facebook, through each other's friends posting it, through, they're going to get the big mainstream information somewhere else before they're going to get it here. This is an opportunity to bring up information that's crucial and important that is not being thrown in your face all the time. Yeah. I think that would be a very wise use of this outlet. Yeah.
So if this is your first time listening to a Striven Games Podcast, we are a podcast for gamers and game developers. Robert himself has made a few games. I'm striving to be 5. I'm striving to get to at least my first. That'd be good. I don't count the one I made at that game jam just because it was.
No, that's bullcrap. You do count that. You have one game.
I have a game. I will never share it to anybody else though. It was.
No. Be proud of that. That's your first game.
It's my baby.
Yeah, it's your baby. Like I killed my baby, which was like bouncing a heart on a plate, following along with the book. And I didn't do too much original stuff to it, which is why I wasn't afraid of letting it go. But like I let my first game that I made go, and I kind of wish that I kept it around and then revamped it once I had more skills and really made it my own. And then, I'd still have my first game, but I don't. You do, so
Yeah.
enjoy that.
Yeah, I'll definitely come back to it sometime. As soon as I actually can do a lot of the parts myself. Because I was not involved in any of the programming part of it.
So, I'm trying to all covertly talk to my wife at the same time, but I realize that I'm on camera.
I was like,
please bring me some time.
It was a bit distracting. I was like, wait a minute. So, but there's some topics that we wanted to talk about. We're not really into news, but there was the whole.
We just knocked one of them out of it.
Yeah, and one thing that kind of made me think about it more was the whole GamerGate scandal. I don't know I don't want to go into it, but I was like, where do I stand on all, like, as far as am I a consumer? Am I just purely on the side of game developers? Does that make me biased? It made me ask questions about myself and who I am, because I feel like I love a lot of the personalities out there who are involved with IGN and Kotaku and Polygon. I love those guys. I think they're cool, and they're actually real gamers. But I also love a lot of the indie people, and I just think that I don't like all this generalizations happening, and I feel like I don't have to
for the people
label myself.
For the people that don't want to have to go look it up online to figure out what we're talking about, just like a general overview, what are we talking about here? Like what exactly went down?
So, the whole Gamergate scandal started with a like a little scandal between a boyfriend and girlfriend, and it exploded into some controversy. They thought there was some dishonest things happening with these these news outlets, and so it brought up the question of like, what's the transparency, like,
and just the way that sexism is handled in the game industry.
Not just sexism. It was just like how news is delivered. Like, they thought there was too many game developers that were like getting too close to the news outlet people, and that might have skewed results, especially like the whole Kickstarter thing. They want to make sure that that's why a lot of people are like being transparent about it. They won't review a game if they were involved in the Kickstarter. That's been a thing that's happening out there, where it's like, do they have to be transparent about who they kickstart to if they were going to be an honest reviewer?
I guess that does bring up a good issue there.
Yeah,
because
so
it seems like they'd have a conflict of interest.
Yeah, and so I wanted to talk about like other people's games, and I wanted to have other developers on my show talking about game development, and I was like, how do I interview them? Do I interview them as a fellow game developer or as a consumer? Like, it's hard, because you don't want to.
I have a suggestion. You should do it as who you are.
Yeah. As
like, well, I mean, like, kind of like, I guess there's a journalism aspect to it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like, kind of, you have to take a separation from it and view it objectively.
Yeah.
But you're still a gamer at the end of the day, and that's personal to you, and this is your personal thing. So I think that you should be objective and personal.
Yeah. So if in the future I have a game developer and a friend coming on, and I'm maybe a little more forgiving about their game because I see how hard it can be to make a game, that's just because it's not because I'm like, on their side and always forgiving,
This is my view of it. This is this person's art, and even if it's not what would pass in the general community as something great, it's still one of your people that you're close to put their time and their effort into this.
Yeah.
And furthermore, if you got any enjoyment out of watching a video of it or playing it or talking about it with a friend, then it's served a purpose. And even if it's not visually beautiful, even if the person that coded the mechanics wasn't great at it, even if you find glitches much more often than you'd like to, this is still somebody who put their work into it, their effort and their life into this. And if you're reviewing these people and you're being nice to them, of course you have to be nice to them, because like, what happens if they're going to put the next year of their life into learning more and doing better. Maybe they'll go back and they'll patch that game that you reviewed and you said it was pretty good. But, I mean, if you're giving like a rating, I would say be honest about the rating. If you say, in my opinion, if this was a between 1 and 10 thing, I would rate this a 4, 2, or 3. But I loved it. I mean, as far as indie games go and the other indie games in the market right now in this genre, there's always things that you can look at and be like, yeah, this is actually better. This is,
that's
considering that the students' work, it's really good.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't ever want to have like a number system, like the IGN scale of 20-point scale or anything like that. It seems
it just smells corrupt.
Yeah, it's if I like a game, you can tell because I'm talking about it.
Right.
And I'll cherry pick different mechanics of it that I like and have my opinions on them. I just love breaking down a game and talking about the mechanics of it. Even if the mechanic didn't quite work out, I find them fascinating. I find the systemic way that a game is made to be awesome and interesting. So
what do you look for when you play a game? When you because even if you don't give something a rating out of 10, there has to be a personal rating system for you. So what is it that is it the sum total of all of the elements together, or what is it that rates it?
I guess, yeah, it is the sum of the parts, really, because since the game is made up of systems, you definitely really, and those can really interplay with each other. It really pushes a outcome of all those parts, because there's some games that have a really good mechanic, but if it doesn't work well with another one, or if it gets in the way, then it's loses its validity. So I guess when I look at a game, I like, I guess the part that I like the most is how well everything comes together, like the interplay between systems. That's why I enjoy. Like, how does this system help the other one? Especially when you're seeing a lot of indie games doing like hybrid genre things. Like, are they just choosing these two things because they like that separately, or because they actually thought that they would do well together? And I definitely
I know.
Yeah, like Puzzle Quest. Like, they saw the puzzle, the match 3 gameplay actually would loan well to an RPG mechanic, So,
yeah.
or, but sometimes things just don't work out. Or maybe if it was implemented differently, maybe it could have been good mix. So,
right.
I love seeing that.
There's a lot of lack of follow through. I mean, especially I'm noticing more and more in the popular apps that we love to download, the one that actually get to be in the top 20 pages of any app store. In a lot of cases, these games are poorly put together. I mean, their mechanics aren't imaginative. They're not bringing anything new to the table. Certainly, I just feel like, because I know that this is a topic for later tonight, but I feel like in a lot of cases, independent games do bring higher quality of, like, they might bring the same amount with less polish. They might bring the same amount of game with less polish, and that's one person working alone versus the studio that's getting paid.
Yeah,
that's just my. I might be a little biased.
Yeah. Is there any like a AAA game out there that you kind of looked at and recently and I don't know, did it spawn any ideas for your own, some like games you wanted to make yourself?
Well, this is I'm glad I get an opportunity to say this in a public forum. I'm one of the people who believes that there is nothing new. No, humans aren't capable of creating something new. All we do is we look around and we try to imitate really well. And every once in a while, we make mistakes. And those mistakes will result in something that we wouldn't have normally thought of that could appear new. But in reality, all we're doing is mimicking. So everything that I've ever done is inspired, yeah. But recently has a game given me inspiration for mechanics. Recently. I guess Evolve, but I haven't played that.
Ooh, which part about it? The 4 versus 1 aspect of it, or?
Yeah, that's it. And it also triggered some memories of, what is that other one where you actually evolve? Frick. It's from EA. You play as like a little paramecium, you grow out, and you start to evolve into other things.
Oh, wait, it was an EA title?
I think it was an EA title. It was definitely polished like one. Spore? Is it called Spore?
Oh yeah, Spore. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, it started making me think about Spore and how like one of those would actually evolve. Like maybe the more it killed people. So maybe you do start with like 10 on your team against 5, and then you start to as you start eventually taking your enemy out and getting taken out, you get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then that limits the number of people on your team. And the people from your team start to respawn as soldiers that take down you. So like it would just get progressively, the teams would keep changing. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Until the final outcome. That's an example of a new mechanic by a AAA studio. And is Evolve AAA?
It's by Turtle Rock. I don't know if they're being published through somebody. But Turtle Rock,
I consider.
yeah, they did a lot of stuff. They did Left 4 Dead.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So they're AAA.
Yeah.
So yeah, they inspired an idea about a mechanic where, you know, I think that my idea would be a very different type of game, but I think it would also be fun. Also, a movie just inspired me, and I want to talk about that before I bounce the same question off you.
Sure.
I don't remember what the movie title was. It's so unfortunate, but it was a dude. Baby, what's the actress who plays Jennifer Schechter's real name? Mia Kirshner. What movie was she just in where she was serial killed? 388 Arletta Avenue. See, I should have just asked her in the first place. I just totally gave you a spoiler if you actually wanted to watch it, but sorry.
That's okay. I instantly forgot whatever you just said because it.
Okay, good. If you're listening and you automatically forgot as well, just go ahead and don't rewind it. Either way, the premise of that movie made me want to do a game about the same thing. And I'll explain the game instead of the movie. What I would want to do is basically create a neighborhood that's only 6 houses. One of the houses is for sale, so you can only enter 5 of the houses. And a different type of family with different society archetypes living in it lives in each one of these houses. And they're on a scripted path that's 1 week long. And as a serial killer, you have to choose, first of all, which mask you would wear, like whether you wear a Jason mask or like a clown mask, or, you know, there'd just be a few different things to choose from. You'd choose your preferred murder weapon. You'd choose whether it's a rope or whether it's a knife or whatever the case may be. You go ahead and your base of operations is this van. And you're going to be basically posting up and just watching all these families and trying to gather information about them. You'll have a journal where you can enter in the information about the characters. And there will be some randomization, so maybe one day they will do something differently than they normally would. Mm-hmm. But through stalking, you would earn points, and you could spend these points to buy things like cameras that you could hide inside of people's houses, like lockpicks, so that you could get into their house, grab their extra pair of keys, make a copy. I just like the idea of stalking a family until you eventually get to kill them. Wow. And there are things that you would do to get special points to add up and stack up, and that would be like, make sure you are wearing your mask at the time. Make sure that nobody sees you and gets away. Make sure that you're using your weapon of choice at the time. Make sure that the police don't get alerted before you're finished. And if you could make it look like a suicide, an accident, or make it look like it was another family member, then you get even more points. So that's an example of a movie inspiring a game.
The ideas can come from anywhere. Like when you become more game developer, you end up looking at things differently. You just see something, you're like, how can that work as a system, you know? Or how can that work, you know, in the world? Or and one great system that came out that affected that has been intriguing me, and I really want to play the game now, is the new Shadow of Mordor, which comes out tomorrow, the 30th. Because every time I see it, it keeps talking about the Nemesis system, and it's like the first time I've seen where they actually have your death have a greater impact on the world. Like your death have an impact. Because when it's a Lord of the Rings world, and when
just to throw it out there, I've always avoided Lord of the Rings material. I mean, I saw all the movies. That's where I drew the line. But anyway, go ahead.
But this one, it seems like they use like their own storyline. It's different from the classic, the story of the Journey of the Ring. This is all about a character who's been possessed by one of the wraiths, the ghosts, and so he's unable to die. He'll die, but he'll come back because the soul is restless and he wants revenge.
Okay,
so it's keeping him alive. So an orc can kill you. You're actually going and killing a bunch of orcs where they live. But when an orc kills you, that orc will actually get promoted in their ranks. They'll end up becoming a captain or, like a war leader of their pack, because they killed you. And if you had scarred them before they killed you, they'll remember you, and maybe they'll be afraid of fire or something if you burn them, or they'll still have a scar across their face if you hit them just right or something.
That is a very, very interesting.
It's cool because then you'll see them next time and they'll be leveled up and they'll be harder to kill, and they'll remember you and they'll have dialogue based on their history with you. And it was a really cool way of giving the world and your impact on it meaning. And I definitely want to see that Nemesis system come up in other games, other genres, because that whole thing is awesome. So,
one thing I've always wanted to see was a game where basically the atmosphere, the environment will always remain the same. Like it'll basically be like a creature that's actually leveling up as well. And now that I'm thinking in programming terms, I think I could actually make something like this work. But I want to see something like if the environment destroys the player and the player has to die a few times, because I imagine that you die a lot of times playing a game, especially depending on the game type. But it would be awesome if the whole environment kept growing and changing. And if you died a lot in one place, that place would be kind of leveled up. And if you wipe a place out, it'll start back at whatever the original spawn was. So they'll be as strong as they ever were. But there are places that can get wicked strong.
Yeah, definitely. It's a new thing to think about. Like, think about, that there's going to be a fail. Usually, in most games, there's a fail state. Not all games do, but some. Think about playing with your fail state in a different way. Have it affect the environment or the things in your world.
Burn. Basically, you burn a patch into the grass or something.
Yeah. Have some lasting meaning in your game. It's because that stuff's can be really.
Well, you remember that one game? I don't know the name of it, and I'm not going to try it. Where you had to run up you had to get to the top of the castle, and you had to. It was like an iPad game. You had to keep swiping really hard to defeat the bad guys along the way, and then when you finally got to it, you get to this one big bad guy, and he would either pay out really well or he'd kill you. And every time that you die, you'd come back as like your kid. You know what I mean? You could be grown up.
Rogue Legacy?
I think that might be it. Yeah.
Rogue Legacy is, I think you come back as like your child comes back and they have like different like characteristics of them. Like they can wind up being blind or something or.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's an idea. Like maybe you could have a static storyline built around 2 or 3 different family houses, and maybe you could think 20 lineages ahead and then have a random generator after that. Yeah. And like every time that one of these people falls, it could have an adverse effect on the rest of the world. those are mechanics that are very interesting to think about.
Yeah, and also can make your game last longer. Because you
Right,
can
give it more replay value.
yeah, because the fail state is now integral to the game and not just sorry, try again. It's it makes me more inclined to I gotta get back in there.
Mm-hmm. So how does it make you think about, like, especially the game that you talked about, the example you talked about? How does it make you think about changing? Like, what mechanics does it inspire you to think about?
Well, for them, they kind of focused on what it does to the enemy. Like the enemy levels up and remembers you,
Right.
and I think that's pretty cool. But for like a monster, like what if that monster, just like an evolve, will also maybe gain some new. What if it like evolves to understand you better? Like what?
Oh,
What if it like?
yeah.
What if you had like the same enemy, the whole time, and it just evolves and adapts to it dying, you know, and then you do the same thing. Like you're maybe like you're just like two viruses trying to outlive each other.
That's interesting. That is very interesting.
It's just the way the game can evolve and adapt to impacts you make on the game.
I've been thinking about some really difficult scripts that would be really taxing on the CPU, but our computers are getting much better, so it's not going to matter. And what it would do is it would basically create a profile for the characters, save it in the game state, and the game would adapt to how the player is playing. So what would happen is, as you enter an area, if you're the type of player where you like to run in with your sword and your shield and kind of just get messy, then it'll adapt to you playing like that, and whatever is most effective against fighting that, like such as having a couple of tanks of your own and then stepping back and using long range attacks. Mm-hmm. The game state would actually be able to change that depending on how the character is choosing to play. And if the character evolves into hiding first before he runs into battle, these mechanics would be complex to think about, to actually think about how to program, but they are something that I do consider. Yeah. But like it would actually realize that you like to take cover before, so at first they're in long range mode, then they switch into close range mode. So basically it would just figure out which type of playstyle that you're using, and it would have like a database with like maybe 20 different play styles built into it, and then however the player is feeding the game data, the game state data, like by however he's making his kills, these things would be recorded in specific ways. Then the game would actually switch between these basically 20 different play styles in order to combat the player. And then not to mention that each unit would operate differently from each other, so they would all have kind of different tactics in the different scenarios. So it's interesting to think about. It would take years to get to get it completely correct. And then by then, 15 other people have done it.
It's kind of the nature of the beast.
Mm-hmm.
But you can always adapt it to be something different. Yeah, always look at what's working in one scenario and think about what if it was in a different type of genre altogether.
Right.
We could talk about like deaths, but the reason I wanted to use the word fail state is because sometimes it's not, maybe it's like a puzzle. It's not about dying. It's about, it's just a state of failure,
Right.
We have to try again. And so, do you think there's too many like violent games out there? Like,
I don't.
There's that feedback loop where it's like, it's very easy because as soon as I think of a game or even creating a system, I'm always thinking about like not like violence is violence. It's like, how does it work in that system? I feel like it's it has so many uses in video games because it's such a visceral feedback loop. Like, when you win, when you fail because you die, and I feel like that's why most games just kind of instinctively use that. And I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if we'll ever get away from that.
You're promoting it. We won't. Just like we're not going to get away from action in movies where people end up getting shot or killed.
Yeah.
But I don't think that there's like my favorite type of game is a first-person shooter. And somebody made the point the other day that they feel like every time they play a first-person shooter, they're just playing a different level of the same game. And when I actually started thinking about that person's comment, I actually agreed and decided that I like that because I know what kind of game I like, and I like to play as many different levels of that game. So like every first-person shooter that comes out is basically DLC to my lifelong game of first-person shooters.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that at all, and I believe that art shouldn't be censored. Like I don't like the idea right now that's in the media that characters in video games are over-sexualized and that this should be avoided. Yeah. I don't like that idea. I'm not on that bandwagon. I think that art is expressive, and I think that because I understand that there's a difference between AAA and there's a difference between the way indie think. And I'm indie side, obviously. So the way I think is that it should be an artistic expression.
Yeah. And
if you express yourself through violence and sex, then please make a game. If you think that games are something special, that they're a tie-in of all medias, and that they should be used to express beautiful messages, that's awesome. But I won't be surprised if I don't play that game. You know what I mean? Yeah. I play games like that, and I've probably enjoyed a lot.
I've played a lot of all kinds of games. I've played and loved games like Flower.
Yeah, I never played that, but that's one of the examples of a game that I might not try.
Or Journey was very similar to that. Same
Journey.
Yeah, same developer, same concept, just more beautiful.
Yeah.
So
I remember hearing about that on G4 and being really into the concept, and I was glad that it was happening in the game industry. But I also remember being not interested to play it.
Definitely play Journey. Just get some nice headphones, and if you borrow someone's PS3 and just play that.
What's that one where you're on a guided path and nothing happens in the story? The story is just to explore an island. I think it's an indie game actually.
To explore an island. Oh, it was gosh.
I'm bad at names.
Is it Esther?
You have me on these things. It's going to be hard. It is Esther. It's Dear Esther.
Dear Esther, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, that game, it's just very interesting to think, and the art people are able to pull out these days, even in the Unity engine. I was looking at some pictures and I was like, damn, I really like the Unreal Engine. It's really pretty. And then I read underneath that it was Unity. I was like, man, what? And then the Blender engine's getting even better. Like all of these engines that are pretty much free to use, they make such pretty stuff. And I understand wanting to make something really beautiful in it and just like turn a player loose and let them look at stuff that you spent hours and hours and hours creating. And I like the idea of that, but I'm more visceral. I'm more action oriented. I want an engaging experience. And then if you notice that my level is beautiful, then good for you.
I wonder if
maybe one thing my
I hope we're not like a dying breed where like, man, we love our interactivity with our games, with all these newer games where it's like they're not as interactive. They're more explorative,
That's interesting because I often think like, how will I be disassociated from my children? Because it seems like the typical thought line is that your grandparents and your parents don't understand you, especially while growing up. So is it through games that I'm not going to be able to understand my kids? Like, is me living heavy? My grandfather listens to classical. I listen to heavy metal. He listens to heavy metal and he can't understand how I listen to it. Is that how it's going to be with games to my children? Are they going to have something so vastly different from what I expect? That's very interesting.
See, even a little bit difference just between me and my siblings, because I have siblings who are...
That's true.
Who are almost a decade younger than me. Maybe 8 years younger than me, so... And the way they play is different than what I play, They're really...
I get that.
Like, my little brother's really into Minecraft and some other things, and... Even my little sister, I introduced her to anime, and then she watches way different anime.
Took it from there. Oh, yeah. I've introduced a few people to heavy metal, and they've gone in different directions.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know that you didn't listen to heavy metal when we met, but now the heavy metal you're listening to, I do not care for.
So now I'm thinking like, what's my daughter gonna be like? She's only 6 months
And
right
what's she gonna
now,
think
but
of you? Like, are we gonna be boring? Like, even though we're making games, and even though we're, I have like weird colors in my hair's all long, am I gonna be like a schlup to my kids? Or
yeah.
are they gonna think that like, or are they gonna be like, oh yeah, I got one of the cool dads? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to be selfish, but I do want to be cool, and I want her to think that geeky type things are cool. So
Yeah,
I might have to. I hope I don't come on forceful. That's the thing. You have to do it very subtly.
just get her everything Zelda, everything Mario. Just make her play every game coming up.
Yeah. One person thought of like, for their children, they wanted to not let them play like the newer stuff, and like only give them like an NES to start with, like to be like their first console. I thought that was a cool idea.
That's interesting. Those games are really they're really soulful. They're really hearty games.
Yeah.
You can play them for a very long time, and if a kid only had those growing up, first of all, they wouldn't. Because that's another thing. If you ask me if violence belongs in video games, I say yes. But do I believe that violent video games belong in kids' lives? No, I don't.
Nope.
Even when I was working at GameStop, like every time I'd hand somebody a copy of Grand Theft Auto, the new one, which at this time is 5,
Yeah.
in case you're watching this in the future. When Grand Theft Auto 5 came, I'd look at the parent in the eye and I'd say, please just sit down and watch the first 20 minutes of gameplay with them. If you're still cool with that, then I'm good. But if you're gonna leave your kids with this, just don't leave your kids unattended, because you should know what they're experiencing from this.
Yeah, I would.
And I think they're harmless ones too. I think that there are first-person shooters that have plenty of gore that would be fine for a child, but at the same time, there's some that just don't belong in kids' life.
Yeah. Grand Theft Auto 5 had just a few parts that I'd be like, nope. Like the torture scene especially.
Right.
I feel like my siblings could handle it, but it's because they kind of already understand a lot. But even then, I was like, really? Like to my stepdad, I was like, really? You bought that for him? All right.
For me,
It's
it's the sum total of all the grotesque stuff that happens. But the big slap in the face for me, the insult to injury to me on that front, is just the language.
Yeah.
It's just the way that they speak to each other, and this is the way that they are programming your child to speak. And I know that I'm kind of on both sides of the fence when it comes to self-expression in art and media, but I also think that you are the filter for what your kids experience.
Yeah.
And that's an important filter.
It is important. Sometimes I think my little brother's a little too trollish. I'm trying to get him. I think a lot of it he'll just grow out of, but right now,
Teach him to be a cannibal troll. He can be a troll, but he's a troll that only goes after other trolls.
There you go.
Basically saving someone from being trolled.
Yeah, I'm hoping. But that's why he's doing like YouTube videos. I'm hoping that he understands that whatever he puts out there is going to be what he gets back. If you, I feel like you can, to a small degree, affect the kind of community you build up around yourself.
Oh, agreed. And these people, you're a sum total of all these people you know.
Yeah.
But I stay alone.
But if you're saying a lot of racist, dumb stuff on the internet, you're probably going to be surrounded by a lot of other racist, dumb idiots.
And the truth is, in today's society, you're going to get shocked for that. That's one thing I love about what I call the birth of the first, what is it called? First class society or level 1 society?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Type 1 society. Frickin' is that the internet is here. We all have a singular consciousness now. Like, we're all brain cells in one giant brain, and we're passing along the information we find. And luckily, there's other brain cells floating around out there that might have contradictory information to the information we think we have. Yeah. And when we put our stupid information out there, we get zapped by the other brain cells. If you use the internet in this way, then, I think that most humans can be well-rounded pretty easily. But I do read a lot of ignorant stuff on Facebook. I'll usually say something really, really sarcastic and kind of ignorant back to them, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I feel like some people can have even like just a straight up lie as a theory, and then they're on the internet they can find 10 sources that prove it, and you just gotta be careful. You know, even if something is heavily sourced, it could still be a total lie. It's just the way the internet works. Sometimes you gotta be careful where you're getting stuff. I mean, because I don't know, people can fabricate a lot.
And at least in this point in time, I think that a lot of people are getting bad information off the internet. Like I fell for one the other day. Not the other day; it was a few months ago now. But I saw a picture of a baby kangaroo online, and it said that there was a caption underneath talking about how one of the major universities is doing a study to bring the Bronchiosaurus back. And I was duped into believing that this was a Bronchiosaurus that had been rehatched, and I had, gotten the attention of my wife and let her know the good news. And then I find out 2 days later that it's a baby kangaroo.
Oh, there was the horrible one. Did you check out that video of the hover bike, the hover skateboard?
I don't think so. No.
Really, that was like a big deal for a while. It was like Tony Hawk was in it, and Doc.
I do remember seeing something with Tony Hawk in it, but that may have been what turned me off of it.
Yeah, and it was like Doc from Back to the Future.
Oh yeah, I do remember seeing something about that. Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, they were promoting this fake hoverboard company. They said they had created a hoverboard, and they did a really well done video of the hoverboard, and it was getting like millions of views and stuff, and I was like, everyone's like hoping it's real, but it wasn't. And
that's funny.
So it was kind of sad.
What's your favorite off the wall invention of all time? Like what's the one that stick with you?
Oh, like a physical invention?
Yeah, like something that actually was released to the United States public.
Oh man, I don't even know.
For me, it's the eye smell. The eye smell came out. It was before all like the iMac and everything. Like it was.
Oh,
you
mean like
time.
These kind of like hokey type devices, or what?
Yeah. What's your favorite?
Oh man. Was the eye smell real?
The eye smell was real. Yes, it would.
Really?
It would use a little chip, and the chip would heat up scented oils.
Mm-hmm.
And when they would mix scented oils together, and it was only a beta, I think, and it was a beta that was released, and then they reimagined it years later of how it would look and stuff. And but anyway, I think it was Forbes or somebody with clout rated it like the 23rd worst invention of all time. But I'm thinking, give me an Oculus Rift, give me an iSmell, give me an Omni, give me a freaking airsoft gun that's actually a controller, and shit, I would have a very good time with that system. I like and the vest that has the little expanding air pockets when you get hit, so you can tell which direction you were shot from.
Yeah,
and they got a belt that shocks you every time you get shot, so that there's actually a repercussion for
I have seen
getting
that.
hit.
That's crazy. Isn't like what, $200 for that thing, or a few $100?
What?
For that jacket?
Yeah, I saw it for sale with another combination of items. It actually came with a very realistic M4 and an air system, and it was like 1500s. So it wasn't something I'll be purchasing in the near future. But I thought it was cool.
One thing.
But I haven't looked into the belt pads. Sorry.
There's that thing where you can like, it's like a belt, but you can walk in any direction. So that way.
Omni.
Is it the Omni?
No. Omni is something that you strap yourself into, and you're basically. You remember when we were kids, and they had those little Power Ranger tops. You put it inside of something, and you would crank it around, and then you'd put it over the bowl, release it, and the little top would spin around inside the bowl. I guess Beyblade did it too.
Oh yeah.
What you're basically walking around in one of those bowls, like from Beyblade, and you are strapped into a harness that's keeping you basically level. You're strapped into a harness that's keeping you basically leveled, and I think it's something crazy like $800 or $1,000 or maybe even more than $1,000. But it just gives the feel that you're actually walking, and you in game you look like you're walking, and you get the sensation that you're walking.
Okay, now I'm seeing it. There was another one though that was similar to this, but it was actually it was a little bigger, and it was at a convention I saw earlier this year, and it was kind of like You know those little like exercise, walkers and stuff, but it will let you do it in any direction.
An exercise walker that goes in any direction,
Yeah.
like a treadmill.
Yeah, like a treadmill.
Oh, okay.
But they were like beta testing a new way of doing it so that it would do it in any direction. So.
A thing I saw a long time ago was a dude standing inside of a large ball, and that was very interesting.
Yeah. It was pretty.
He looked like a giant.
It was pretty open. I forget which convention it was at. I can't remember. But it only looks pretty cool. I'm looking at the thing now. Can you actually like? So do you you walk in it and like what are you standing on?
Because of the bowl that you're standing in, you can't actually get any traction. And when you take a step, it doesn't propel you forward.
So it's almost like you're sinking the whole time in sand. You're just like
kind of, yeah, but you won't feel like that because you've got a virtual reality headset on your face, and that's it's making you feel like you really are walking. And it works in any direction. You're the thumbstick.
That's pretty cool. I've seen someone playing Skyrim with that. That's pretty cool. All right.
Mm-hmm.
How much is that? It looks expensive.
Yeah, I think it's like $1,000 or more.
So if you had, let's say, like $10,000, what would you buy right now?
I'm all about that game company. I would spend. Okay, well, I would get some nerdy toys. Buy $10,000.
As far as like electronics go, what would you buy?
Okay, all right. I have $10,000 for electronics. Okay, that's easy. Okay, so everything I just named: the Oculus Rift, Development Kit 2, the Omni, try to remember the name of the system. Oh, okay. Another one is there's augmented reality coming out now too. I know there's a bunch of companies that have one, but right now I'm going to talk about the Meta. And the Meta pisses me off because it used to be $300, just like the Oculus Rift. Mm-hmm. But now they have a new version up there that's like $1,600.
Oh,
so that's totally not what I'd spend my money on if I had it. But if I had $10,000, I could spend it on anything, then I might pick up a Meta. Because I like the idea of having like an airsoft gun and a Meta on your face that gives you like a heads-up display, but everything else looks normal, and you could shoot your friend, and the heads-up display will like splurt out a little bit of blood. You hit a wall, it'll shoot out a little bit of concrete and leave a bullet hole. $1,200. Oh God, I forgot about software. So I guess this is a hardware question, not even a software question. Because if it's a software question, my money's gone. Okay, well, never mind then. So I'd probably drop
just on hardware, yeah.
$3,200 probably on a supercomputer, custom built and everything.
Yeah. I'd be about the same.
I don't know. I would get a lot of gaming stuff, and and a lot of it would be in the name of producing on a console or producing on a certain controller that doesn't have enough developers behind it, because you do get people that buy these pieces of hardware and get disappointed by the fact that nothing supports it. None of the games coming out support this new controller, so it's a hunk of junk. Well, even if I don't have a big-ass publisher, a big-ass distributor behind me to push my game for me, if I put it on a unsupported console or a unsupported controller system, then bam, now I'm a very big fish in a very small pond instead of a small fish in a big pond. So I just get a bunch of stuff for developing.
I definitely need a laptop that I can actually develop on. That'd be nice. It's like our internet connection's kind of conking in and out. I don't know why. Oh my gosh, the face he was making. Oh man. Oh man.
When we broke up. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. The face you made was really funny.
That whole time?
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but the face you were making was really funny though. You were like,
Like this.
you were like,
Ah.
it like happened to catch a frame where you were like,
Oh, okay. That's crazy. But yeah, I just buy development related stuff.
yeah. I was saying it was like I would love to have a laptop. That's the only thing I have. I have a huge, expensive machine that's already out of date. I just need like a laptop that I could develop on, just good enough for actually writing some code on.
8 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of RAM,
Yeah,
terabyte hard drive.
yeah,
Decent. Because we're going to be making games in Unity, and honestly, we're probably going to aim for the freaking mobile platform anyway. So
yeah.
I don't think that we'll need something crazy.
Yep. Oh, Unity. So I actually discussed a lot. It's been like an hour already.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was there anything left on that list you wanted to get out of the way?
All right. So it seems we're having some internet issues for some reason with Skype. It keeps getting our calls lost. But Robert is still here.
Hi.
So, but we're gonna wrap up this episode. We kind of bounce off a lot of different topics, though. Some developer friendly, some not. But
Hey, the gamer cred. Go, real quick.
oh yes. So we want to leave with one last question for you guys. This is our gamer cred question of the week. We want to know what's the last indie game that you played. All right. So let us know. Let us know how you liked it.
Mine was Aliens vs. Romans by Sick Creation.
There you go. And, oh man, I have no idea what the last one I played. Let's see here. Oh. Put up Steam real quick. What was new? The last one I played was, I think I played, like, Torchlight 2 again. I was playing that again. Also,
Right on.
I also played a little bit of Vindictus. I was going back to games because I haven't picked anything up, but there's been some good sales. Let's see what I have here. What was most recent? Oh, I did try Battle Block Theater.
Nice.
Yeah, wasn't great, but just the beginning alone is great. Just it was really funny. They have a good humor. The gameplay is pretty good, but it's had some hiccups, but still fun. If you like I think it's the same people who did Castle Crashers.
Right on.
So it's a platforming game. So besides that, I haven't really played too much. I have tried Face Rig, and it's not anything, but it is a software. It's fun. That's the whole reason I got a webcam. Was for Face Rig. So I'll probably do some videos of that later.
Cool.
I might just do next time we have a podcast. I'll just do that. I'll just Face Rig
Well, that's
out.
cool.
So, just
Would it work on my end too, or just yours?
you would have to buy the software.
Okay, I'll just be my beautiful self then.
Yeah, and you'll be talking to a who knows what. You'll be listening to a dragon anime character, whatever I fancy at the moment. It's a fun software. It's essentially what it does. If you haven't looked at it, it's on Steam. It's in beta. It's just a facial detection software through your webcam, and it will take a 3D model and output that as a broadcast. So you can so if you're into Twitch, and you want to liven up your videos, it can be a fun little thing you can do.
Can you upload your own 3D models that you made?
I think that functionality is being worked on. They did allow other Octodad is in there, so other game creators are adding to it as DLC, but I don't think they have a hub for that yet.
Okay, cool.
I think it's in the
That would be
website.
really cool, though.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm hoping that they have like a thing for that later. What's it called? On what's it called on Steam? Like a, not the community hub, but the workshop. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, Steam Workshop.
Yeah. So they can add like a Steam workshop to that. They're kind of cool, where you just kind of share models.
Yeah, that would be really awesome. I think that's the way of gaming. I think that everybody should be sharing models and scripts, and
Yeah.
you know,
They,
it'd be awesome.
they don't have a workshop yet, but they're upgrading it still, and you can do a lot of stuff with it. Apparently, you can have the tongue come out of the body and kind of wiggle about,
Weird.
and there's some like, weird things you can do. Ugh. It's worth $10, you know. It's good stuff.
Right. Nice.
But know if you're gonna use it for like video on Twitch, and if you're getting money off of views on Twitch, make sure you get the version that allows commercial. So, which is like 30, 40, whatever bucks it is. Somewhere around there. It was on sale. It might be a little more now, but it was on sale recently. So, yeah, that's my indie software that I was using. I guess that's
Cool.
my pick of the week.
Right on. Well, yeah, it's cutting out for me all the time. I don't. Sometimes I don't hear you, and I don't know if my words become through.
Skype was working really well for 3 hours straight, and now it's just like Skype is not working. So I guess that wraps up our show. This is episode 20. Definitely want to have Robert on again. We're going to try to do this every 2 weeks. Just have a discussion about games and game development and whatever the hell else we want to talk about.
Right on.
So, have you had fun? Definitely reach us. You can reach us at strivengames.com. You can email. Let's see. It's just... You can email me at jordan@strivengames.com, or I forget what it's called. I think it's just podcast@strivengames.com if you have a question directly to our podcast. And if you have anything you want to discuss, we can definitely read your email. So let us know what you think of anything that we discussed in our video here. I'll probably be putting this on YouTube. I think I have a Striven Games YouTube account that I've been trying to put more on, so I definitely want to do more video. Hopefully do more video podcasts. As well as anything else I want to put out there. I have some ideas. And I'm on Twitter at @SqueeStriven, SGWEE Striven. Do you have a Twitter, or anything you want to promote?
You can check me out on Facebook, which is my name's Robert Hoole on Facebook. My last name is spelled Hoole. That's the easiest way to get hold of me, and I'm not some huge time guy that will ignore everybody who talks to me. So if you do add me on Facebook and send me a message with any development related questions, that's not a problem at all. I'll get back to you almost right away. So Facebook, my email is robert.c.hoole at hitthefanstudios.com. That's hitthefanstudios.com. And Hit the Fan Studios on Twitter as well.
Sweet. All right. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'm glad that you have it. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, Internet.
Bye.